in high definition. 19 Action News starts now.
He took a gun and he pointed it straight to my face. He was literally 3 feet away from me. So I just jumped forward into the aisle and curled into a ball and waited for him to go up the stairs.
Chaos and confusion inside a packed Colorado movie theater as a gunman goes on a shooting spree, killing a dozen and injuring even more. 19 Action News has the latest on a terrifying movie massacre.
There are a few answers about the theater tragedy in Aurora, Colorado. Shooting suspect 24-year-old James Holmes is accused of killing 12 and injuring 58 others. 11 are in critical condition tonight. And we're piecing together new details tonight about this tragedy. A police conference is planned to begin any minute now in Colorado. Our correspondent Teresa Garcia begins our live team coverage at 6. New tonight.
The movie theater here in Aurora remains closed until at least next Wednesday. But across town, it is a much more active scene with those bomb experts making entry into the suspect's apartment. And police are telling us it could take another 12 to 24 hours until they can safely clear out all those dangerous materials. A controlled explosion went off inside the booby-trapped apartment of accused movie theater gunman James Holmes. The blast was designed to help law enforcement get inside the apartment, which they say contained a complicated array of explosive devices, trigger wires, chemicals, and ammunition.
The threat has not been completely eliminated. It has been significantly reduced.
Holmes is in custody awaiting his first court appearance Monday morning. The 24-year-old former grad student is accused of the early Friday morning massacre of moviegoers watching the midnight showing of the new Batman film. Holmes has an attorney and so far is not talking to police. But just a day before the shooting, some of his neighbors say he did make an impression on them. Carl Allen lives across the street and spoke with Holmes Wednesday.
He stood here and talked to us for a minute. He didn't say much, and he just had a weird look in his eye.
We're also learning more about the victims. Moviegoer Alex Sullivan was celebrating his 27th birthday. Tomorrow would have been his first wedding anniversary. Jessica Gowie was an aspiring sports writer and blogger. Annie Dalton is mourning her 6-year-old great-niece Veronica Moser. Her mother, 25-year-old Ashley, is still in the hospital.
Her whole life has changed in a flash for what? You know? I mean, she still doesn't know her daughter's gone.
And only one person knows why. While police are not discussing a possible motive, everyone in this community continues to speculate. Now, those who had met James Holmes say he appeared to be a well-spoken, clean-cut, quiet person. A community vigil for those victims is planned for later this evening. Live in Aurora, Colorado, Teresa Garcia, back to you.
Teresa, thank you. We're now learning about some of the victims in one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. A dozen people shot dead, and one of those killed is 27-year-old Matthew McQuinn, who once lived in Springfield, Ohio. The family's lawyer says McQuinn died while protecting his girlfriend and her brother from the flying bullets. They also once lived in Ohio. They survived, but unfortunately, McQuinn did not. The youngest person who died in the shooting was a 6-year-old girl named Veronica. And another Ohioan was also injured in the theater shooting, 18-year-old Gage Hankins from Hardin County, which is in northwest Ohio. Hankins went to see the movie on Friday night while vacationing in Denver. He was seated in Theater 8, which is right next to Theater 9, where the shooting took place. His family says a stray bullet hit Hankins in the arm. He's expected to make a full recovery and will return back to Ohio in the next couple of days.
The wound was somewhere around here, and just a few millimeters in or centimeters in, and I don't think I would have left the theater.
He's truly a remarkable young man. He came in with some critical injuries. He was a victim of shotgun wounds.
We're now hearing from a shooting survivor, Stephen Barton, who's still in the hospital recovering and just so lucky to be alive. Barton says he remembers the shooting like fireworks. The man was shot through the neck, and he says he feels sorry for the shooter and for whatever he was coping with that drove him to such violence. Meanwhile, this tragedy happened at a theater not much different from the ones across Northeast Ohio and many others around the country. Security is being beefed up in the wake of that massacre. We checked out Crocker Park's movie theater in Westlake last night. The parking lot was packed, and many moviegoers told us they were not staying away from the theater just because of the tragic event in Colorado.
It's obviously a tragedy what happened in Colorado, but we weren't going to let that affect us.
I've heard that there's one theater chain that is going to put the kibosh on any costume wearing.
AMC Theaters did put a policy in place regarding costumes. Their statement is on our website, 19actionnews.com. And we have continuing coverage on this top story online, on air, and tonight at 10 and 11. And switching gears here for now, here's a live look outside. Just beautiful, beautiful sunny skies, no rain in sight. Let's check in with Beth McLeod on the latest forecast for this weekend. And Beth, it was beautiful running weather.
It was just beautiful. You know, the dew points are down, the temperature's down, we're dry where we have been for just a little bit. Go ahead and take a look. Everyone's in the 80s right now, or a little bit below, mostly sunny skies. If you head out, officially we hit 81 degrees. We saw some clouds a little earlier on, then even they have scooched out of here. Lydia, we will talk about what's to come, and I'll tell you the 90s are in our near future.
All right, we'll see you back in a bit. Thanks, Beth. In other news, closer to home, murdered mom Lynn Jackenheimer will be laid to rest on Monday. That as the national manhunt continues for her suspected killer, Nathan Summerfield. Police believe he killed his ex-girlfriend while vacationing in North Carolina. Mentor Police Department needs your help tonight identifying 2 suspected thieves. Look very carefully here. Do you recognize these 2 men? Mentor Police say they've been on a stealing spree. The 2 men spread out throughout the Walmart and took off with some goodies. And if you recognize them, give police a call. 19 Action News first online with this story. Cleveland Heights police tell us a cement truck flipped on Cedar Hill today near Ambleside. The truck was on its side going eastbound up the hill when it flipped over. These bound lanes on Cedar were closed at the bottom of the hill, but now they're back open. And on your mark, set, go. To Akron now, that is. People from around the world gathering for the 75th annual Soapbox Derby races. Our Denise Sorella joins us live at 6 with an exciting day, wasn't it?
Oh, we had a great time out there, Lydia. It's a great time every year. The All-American Soapbox Derby has faced its share of challenges, though, in the past few years. At one point, it looked like the event itself would be crossing the finish line, and then suddenly, a Hollywood hero stepped right in. And they're off. Kids from all over the country, all over the world compete in the 75th annual Soapbox Derby. For Brian Webster Remy, it's the thrill of a lifetime that may just carry on into adulthood.
I'm going to take this as far as I can, drive as much as I can, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing for my main career.
And for big kids like Greg Geisen, the Derby brings back childhood memories.
It was a lot of fun. We had camp back then. For a week, we went to camp.
Now, Geisen's son is racing too.
We went down the hill and I lost.
Oh, you lost. But how did it feel to go down that hill?
Good.
This is a replica of one of the very first Soapbox Derby cars. After 75 years of tradition, can you imagine something like this going away? But just a few years ago, it looked like money problems would reduce the Akron Soapbox Derby to suds. That's where filmmaker Corbin Burnson comes in. He wrote 25 Hill and produced the movie here in Akron to save the Derby.
It's just pure. It's Norman Rockwell. It is apple pie, and it's a lot of fun. And it's really, even more than all those things, it is about family and community.
Now a portion of the movie's proceeds go to keeping the historic event alive. Since Burnson threw his hat in the ring, other corporate sponsors have stepped up to the plate too, raising $150,000.
I will be in the black this year.
So, just like a Hollywood movie, this story has a happy ending. The Soapbox Derby dreams of kids for generations to come roll on, at least for now.
I get so fired up when I see that. 25 Hill is now out there. It is available on DVD. If sales do go well, Corbin Burnson says there is a possibility we could see a sequel, possibly 25 Hill 2, which has a pretty nice ring to it. Live in the Newsplex, Denise Sorella, 19 Action News.
In some sense, you know, I'm sorry that he, had to, cope with whatever was going on with his life by doing this.
A survivor from the movie Massacre breaks his silence while recovering in his hospital bed. Coming up, he recounts what he remembers from the shooting. Plus,
a stunning verdict in the trial of a man shot and wounded by police. How a jury just told the cops, "We don't believe you."
Well, if you think your grass could use a little rain, well, you might like your chances in the upcoming week for a little bit of storms.